I understand. You think you've had some kind of epiphany and now you're pure. You believe it's not about dirty, filthy lucre and so on.
It's not about money.
How much do you want?
It's not about that.
Well, if we start making this, somebody is going to be making a lot of money.
I don't give a shit about the money.
Well, you should. Because apart from anything else, this factory is one of the biggest employers in the country. Like it or not, defense is a growth industry. The local area around here is depending on us for millions of pounds worth of regeneration. Now listen, just as it did after the Second World War, when the country was in ruins. This whole neighborhood was in ruins, in fact. If you renege on us and the bottom falls out of the market, I hope you're prepared to explain yourself to the community.
Well, I'm sorry about the neighborhood, but it's what I believe is right.
It's not right. It's just selfish. We have bills to pay, taxes to pay, wages to distribute. You have responsibilities to your colleagues and to your family and to yourself. I mean, what will you do if we stop now? You'll go mad. You won't be able to live with yourself. I mean, it is my future too. I have a family to feed. I have children, school fees. I have a mortgage. This is my livelihood. This is normal life for normal people trying to do an honest day's work and just make ends meet.
I'm sorry, but I can't. In all good conscience.
Don't talk to me about your conscience. It's just moral exhibitionism.
What do you expect me to...
We have an IP.
What do you want me to lie?
We have an IP.
And say, good idea, well done?
Lawyer.
A blow for the free market?
Who has asked me
I'm not interested in your lawyer.
to point out
I can't sign that.
if
I've changed my mind.
you read your employment contract, you will see that under the conditions of your employment, you are required to make best endeavors to get projects financed. Best endeavors.
This is...
Not reasonable endeavors, not you'll think about it or you've changed your mind.
This is different. I think we can go back to the drawing board, talk to the French or the Germans.
Well, you see. Okay, well, we can't. Because, let me explain. If it weren't for this funding, if we don't start manufacture next year, there will be no drawing board. Your ideas will be worthless. And if it weren't for this government and our partnership with the Americans, you would have no acolytes, no support. You would be nowhere. A jobbing engineer studying the flight of birds and bees. People would laugh at you. They'd say you were stupid.
So I don't have a choice?
I don't understand what's got your back up all of a sudden.
You love my work so much that you're offering me powerlessness?
But when it comes to lucrative government contracts, we were always offering you powerlessness. I'm bending over backwards to offer you a deal, okay? A deal to ensure you retain a percentage of your intellectual property.
No, a percentage. No, I need the whole lot. It's all or nothing.
We love you, Ned, but we're not going to humor you forever.
I need full ownership of the patent in order to control the export license.
Why do you want that?
Because the only way I can see of this working is if I can control the export license.
We'll control the export license, and you just don't worry your pretty little head.
No, the government will control the export license, and you know what they'll do with it.
If you go to the government saying you want finance, but you want to control the export license, they'll think you're a demented control freak.
Takes one to know one.
And if America wanted to re-export the damn thing, they would reclassify it dual use.
So you're absolving yourself of responsibility?
I'm saying there are regulations to absolve us of responsibility.
Well, don't you think that's kind of fishy?
Okay, listen. I'll put my cards on the table. The government will never allow us to own a controlling share. They won't compromise. They'll just let it wilt on the vine.
What do you mean?
You see, what's also important here is industry, and what matters is in industry is ownership.
What matters to industry is profit.
Be that as it may, the government needs to hold on to this. Develop it or not develop it. Leave it on the shelf, bury it, suffocate it, whatever. It's got to remain their property so that nobody else can exploit it, because that would be disastrous. That would be an economic nightmare.
You're saying they might not even make it anyway?
Not unless they have a controlling share.
They're just going to sit on it for economic reasons? This is like a bad dream. It just gets worse and worse. You're just saying it's a military requirement.
Nevertheless, the Ministry of Defense cannot be relied upon to see it through. It can be relied upon when it comes to anti-submarine aircraft, which will never be used, or bomb-proof Land Rovers, which aren't even bulletproof. But something as complex and esoteric as this will most certainly go by the wayside. And as far as the Ministry of Defense is concerned, if we let you finish it, and we also let you own it, and then you take it to somebody else...
I want it. I want it.
And some other European country manufactures it, and then that country becomes the world's biggest arms manufacturer, and they have the billions of euros in trade, and the sinecures, and the respect, and the kudos that really belongs to us, do you see? They'll have all the fun, and we'll go down the pipes with the defense industry. Will go the way of the motor industry and shipbuilding.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't.
You asked for sweat equity. Nobody's going to give you sweat equity. They'll just get another designer. Look, I'll be bluntly honest with you now. Obviously, it would set us back a bit. It will cost us. It's not ideal, but there's plenty of good engineers willing to take over your work. You know that. There's people on your own team.
They wouldn't do that to me.
That's just your vanity.
I don't believe you.
It's a great opportunity for someone.
There's nobody on the team who'd do that to me.
It's going to look great on someone's CV. And as far as royalties don't stop. They just keep on rolling in forever.
I'm finding this a bit scary now.
I'm not trying to scare you, believe me. Scaring people's the last thing I want to achieve. But I will say this. What happens if we quit and North Korea or Iran tries to develop one? If we acquire a patent, then only we can make it. If somebody manages to procure or develop one through clandestine means and they use it on us, then having made it, we'll know how to stop it. If, on the other hand, we're seen to be developing weapons and then abandoning them when we get cold feet, this country will never be able to use weapons programs as a deterrent again.
What happens if it doesn't work as a deterrent? What if it works as a provocation?
If you don't finish, then it's an invitation for somebody else too.
What happens if we end up escalating the conflict? What happens if we incentivize Downing Street and the White House to continue waging illegal wars they can never win?
Well, I see. Okay, great. And you've been working on the program for a good few years now, earning a nice wage while you're at it. When was the road to Damascus moment which slung it all into reverse for you? Was it when I told you it's actually going into production and it's no longer theoretical? And while we're on the subject of hypocrisy, you sold it to us first.
What do you mean?
You're not just handing it over for nothing, for free. It's not a gift. You offered us your time, your expertise, and your ideas, and we paid you. That, in most people's books, constitutes a transaction with a contract, whether you like it or not.
Well, I'm not most people.